Hello and welcome to I Like Art, the podcast. My name is Sara Glupker and I'm your host. And I am so delighted to have a guest on the show today. Her name is Kathleen Steegmans. Steegmans, if you're American
Yes.
and you can't pronounce it. And she is from Belgium and she's a fantastic artist. And I'm so thankful to have her on the show. And I cannot wait to dive in. So, welcome, Kathleen. How are you today?
Thank you, Sarah. I'm very good because I'm very happy to be here today. Looking forward to our conversation.
Wonderful. I'm so excited too. So let's dive in. Okay, my first question. So the podcast it's a podcast with an audience of artists and also people who don't necessarily make art. So we're here today to get to know you, to learn about your art, and I know it's not a visual format, so we're going to have this posted on YouTube also. But we're going to talk about first your backstory. You live in Belgium, and as far back as you want to go, you can talk about your life growing up, what your childhood was like, or when you realized you were an artist, and maybe talk about a little bit about where you're at right now. And then we'll talk about your art.
Okay, perfect. Well, I feel like my story is the most important part of my art also. So I feel like my story is indeed very important to even understand my art. So I grew up in Belgium. And in 1981, my parents opened a photo gallery, like the first real photo gallery, photography in Belgium. No, not in Belgium, in our province. So I was 6 years old at that time. And we had like opening nights with photography exhibitions and everything like that. And I was like, even as a child, I was like exhibitions, and it was different from other people's conversation or something. It was like, it felt like a different vibe. So I was already like feeling the whole artist thing and like the artists and the openings. And then also I saw some images at a very early age, certainly before the internet, that were like art photography. It was not like normal images that children would see at that age. There was nudity and even some violence, but it was like, it was really like I was in an art world when I was very small. So I was already fascinated by that. Unfortunately, after about 4 or 5 years, when I was just getting in a stage that I was more getting to know myself, my parents had to close the gallery because it was just not earning any money. It was like a really fun project for them, but also there was no internet at the time, so they had to drive to Paris and to London and to Amsterdam to meet artists, to see artists, to get all the work in our place. So they had to stop because it wasn't bringing in enough money. So they changed the gallery and they made it a restaurant. So I grew up in a restaurant from then on. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And at that time I was already very feeling creative, but I was doing like bigger things, like getting on a stage and then making like the backgrounds and the flyers for it and the posters to promote it. So I was always really like creative, doing creative things.
Oh my
But
goodness.
then I got a bit older, I forgot about it. I went to normal high school and I didn't feel good at that normal high school, and I didn't really know what to do at that time. And then my mom, she said like, why don't you go to art school? Because I was 16, and in Belgium at 16, you can go to a school that's like half art and half normal education.
Oh wow.
So I said, let's do that, because she couldn't go because her parents said like at the time she was younger, it was all hippies at that school and they had like jeans. So my parents couldn't go to my mom wasn't allowed to go to that school, and she was pushing me like, why didn't you go to art school?
Wow.
So going to drink.
Oh,
At
I'm loving
16, I
this so
started
far.
art school. Yes. And first I did a 1 year of interior design, but that was way too small things for me, and it was too technical. And so the year later, I switched to a general art education. I loved it. So when I was 18, it was normal that I went up to to get a master's in fine arts.
Okay.
So first I did a year in printmaking, but that was also like the teachers from that category. They were very like old fashioned. And in the hallway across me, there was like mixed media, and they did like performances, and they did like all kinds of crazy things. And I wanted to do that. So then I switched again, and I did 3 years of mixed media arts.
Oh my
Which I
goodness.
absolutely loved. And I did like installations, did a lot of photography, but I never learned how to photograph. Yes, because it was mainly aimed at the concept, not at really learning the techniques.
Okay.
So yes, I loved it and it was great. But when at school, I had a boyfriend and I had all kinds of things on my head and like teenage things, and you know. So I wasn't really into the school thing like I was supposed to be. Like I wasn't really focused on my schoolwork. I made it anyway. I got my degree, but then I stopped. Then school was finished, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because like I wasn't the top of the class. I was just like average, and I was living in a town that has like 80,000 people in it. So there were like 3 or 4 art galleries, and it was like I didn't have any connections, and I was like, okay, this was fun, and now life is going to start. I have to do something else. So because I grew up in a restaurant, my parents who had in a restaurant, I went in the restaurant and I started working in the kitchen. First as waitress and then in the kitchen. And that's what I did for about 4 years because I didn't think I could do anything else. I also couldn't work on a computer because I didn't learn it at school. We were just like the time that was like computers were just getting into the schools. In my life, I want to do something creative, but with my degree, it was like a master in visual arts. At that time, I couldn't really do anything with it. And I also didn't find myself good enough to do anything with it. So I was like, I'm just average as an artist, and I can't do something with this. Then I was lucky in 2003, the restaurant I worked in, they had to stop. So they closed. But that means I could do a new course that is subsidized by the government. And I could do like a 1-year schooling in graphic design.
Okay.
Yes, so I could get a monthly allowance and I could also go to school. So that was like a special government program. So I could reschool. So for 1 year, I went back to school from 2003 until 2004. And then I learned to be a graphic designer. So I learned to work on the computer and I was like, okay, yes, now I can finally do something that is creative and that I can have a real job with, because art was already long out of my head. In the back of my mind, I always thought about it, but it was something like, this is just not possible for me. It's just like some very special people can become an artist, but that's not me. And so I was really happy like with the degree then for graphic design. So I started to do like different kind of jobs. I always had this feeling that I didn't want to really have like a steady thing going on for a long time. I felt like I wanted to be more free. So I didn't want to have like a real job that's like full time all the time. So I started doing like lots of temporary jobs in graphic design, doing replacements for pregnancies. But of course, I couldn't always find the right jobs in graphic design. So sometimes I worked in a shop. Sometimes I did enquêtes, is that a name? And it's like studies for customer reviews and things. And I did all kinds of things just because I didn't want to be stuck down in one thing, but I did want to do like creative stuff and la la la.
I can relate
I'm going
to
to go. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to fast forward to 2010 because my mom, she had cancer and she passed away at the end of 2010.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And that's when my mind really started thinking like, because she was 6 years old, I was like, fuck, sorry.
It's okay.
Life can go really fast. And I was
Yeah.
then 35 at that time. And I was like, I'm now 35 and I haven't really done anything with my life that I really wanted to do. I've just been going with the flow and seeing what I'm getting here and seeing what I'm getting here, but I haven't really found a direction of it. I haven't really been looking for a direction. What do I want to do? So then I was thinking like, oh, what do I want to do? And I want to be independent and I want to do my own thing. I want to make my own schedule. And my boyfriend at the time, and he's still my boyfriend at this time. So he was also in a thing, like he worked for a company for 11 years and he also wanted to do something else. So in 2011, we said, we are going to open a graphic design company together.
Okay.
Yes. So we were going to start it up small and we were going to keep our jobs. So I was going to look for a part-time job and he was going to keep his job. And then we were going to build it up slowly. And in a few years, maybe we could become fully independent. That was the idea. So 2011, April, we started that company. And then it was summer. And we met two very nice, crazy, gay couple, and they were working together as artists for many years now. And we met them, and we were a weekend doing things with them, going out and going for dinner and having drinks, and whole weekend we were like together. And they really inspired us, and they said like, why don't you just do this full time? What are you waiting for? What needs to happen before you can go full time? Why are you waiting this long? And why are you always saying like we are postponing our dreams and we will do it later? And that was for us like this click. And then the weekend afterwards, we both canceled our jobs. And 2 months later, we were fully independent.
Wow. Oh.
So, so September 2011, we were fully independent. We had a graphic design company. We didn't know anything about running a business. It was just like, we're going to see how it's going to go. The good thing was that we could work from home. We didn't have to make any investments because we had our computers, we had our programs. It was just like, we're just going to start. So yes, we started that and it went pretty good. We started to have a lot of business. We worked pretty hard. And I'm going to fast forward to 2015. Our business was going good, but we had a lot of work, but not a lot of money yet. So it was a lot of work, always working, but we didn't earn a lot of money yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, again, this thing like, oh my God, am I doing what I'm really wanting to do? So the question came again. And I was like, okay, we now have our freedom because we are working from home and we are doing what we want. We are working with the clients we want, but we are working very hard and we don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So luckily at the same time, I came into contact with a group of people who are freedompreneurs. And it's a friend of mine who started that group, and it was all independent women, mostly in Belgium, who are all saying like, we want to do what we love, but we also want to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I really came into contact with people who said something like that. Because before I thought like, you can be independent, but you have to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like a real change of mind in my head. And I met a business coach, and we decided to do, like, for our company, a very expensive business coaching program. It was like half a year, 10,000 euros program, like everything about marketing, everything about building a business, how to promote yourself.
Yes.
So we were like, really, okay, we have to change this. We have to make it even better. And that started to go very well. And then I had some more time because we were earning more money, because I had more free time. And in 2016, I did a 100-day project on Instagram.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Awesome.
So because I was always working for clients of our company, and I didn't do any creative work of my own anymore, because I was always working for. And then I did like, okay, this year I'm going to do the 100-day project on Instagram so that I get some more things to do for myself creatively.
What was your project, real quick?
Portraits. That was all drawn portraits, and then I edited on the computer to make a background and color of it. Yes.
Okay, keep going.
And then I was, of course, very excited because in the past I already did sometimes organize my own shows before that, but it was not really for money, but it was like a hobby thing. So like with the 100-day project, I had then these 100 images and I was like, I need to do something with it. And my boyfriend, he's making 3D visualizations. And I have a friend who's a painter and another friend who's a photographer. So that year, at the end of the year, we did like a little show. One weekend, we hired a space and we did an expo.
Love that.
And I was like, okay, I'm loving this. And then I was really feeling like I really want to do something with art again.
Okay.
So 2017 was the business was going better and I had more free time. So I was doing more and more art again. And then it was the end of 2017. And then I decided like, I have so many things made now. I need to do something with them. And I did like an open studio weekends. So here in our space, I did like an open studio weekend. And I said like everything that I made in the past 2 years, I set for sale. And then my one of my friends, she has a band. She came and she gave a gig here, and it was like with cakes and with drinks, and it was a great weekend. I think I sold 8,000 euros that weekend.
Yay!
And I was like, wow, what the fuck? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You can swear.
I can really make some money from this art. And in my head, things were starting to change. And then I suddenly realized like, everything I learned for the business in the past few years, and also everything I learned in the jobs that I did in between, I can now use to promote and make my own art.
Yes.
And then it started to realize like, okay, maybe I can be an artist. And I started to be like, at that time did a lot of personal development programs because I felt like there were lots of things in my mind that were stopping myself from being an artist. Even when I first was feeling like I want to do this, I was afraid to use the word artist because I thought like artist is like, then you have to accomplish this and that. So I use myself, I named myself a creative entrepreneur.
Yes.
Because artist was too scary.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was actually 2018, and I said to my boyfriend, I really want to do something with this. And we agreed that I would slowly stop working for the clients of our company. So I said, like, every month I said to 2 or 3 people, like, this is the last time and I will work for you. And I stopped gradually with the clients. And from 2019, I see myself now as a full-time artist.
Yay. So it was a gradual.
It was a gradual thing, yes.
Okay.
It needed to be gradual. First I wanted to be like now, but I see also looking back, like even for my mind to process this, it needed to be gradual. And also like selling my work. First I thought, oh, I can never do this. Then I thought everything I learned, I can do this easily. And then I thought like, it's not that easy, but I can learn it.
Yes.
So it's like ups and downs and ups and downs.
I love that. I can relate to your story so much. And I always visualized going from my regular jobs to being a full-time artist as this jumping off the high dive into the pool.
Yes.
And then one day I realized I don't have to do that. In fact, that's so scary and such a stark change that it was a wade. It's only been a year for me. So, but every
only
single
year. I thought you were doing it longer.
Well, I've had part-time jobs too.
Yeah.
So, but the last part-time job ended September of 2020. So
yay.
Yeah, but it's not like suddenly my sales made this exponential increase either. Still my company and my business is building. It's a wade into the deep water, and that's okay. Accepting that is part of it. Just saying, I don't need to swim out deep right away. You can take it one step at a time.
It's also just not the most easy time at this time. We cannot, as an artist, you cannot do a lot of expositions. You cannot see a lot of people. So it's like, I was like, last year there was a time that I thought like maybe I have to stop it again, because there was like beginning of 2021, I didn't have any income. I didn't have any sales, and I was really like, I think you have to quit it again, because I'm not going to be able to support myself. And I was like, okay, Kathleen, you've waited so long for this. Are you going to give it up now? And then I said, like, no, I'm not going to give up. And then I must say the second part of 2021 was a good success for me. And I made up for a lot of loss that I made in the first part. So I'm now going in confident into the new year. But it was like, it's not an easy time at this time, because it's very difficult to do things and to see people. And online, you can do a lot of online, but for me, I've only sold small pieces online, and the bigger pieces, I really need to, people need to see them, and they need to communicate with you and feel you and see the artwork and feel it. So it's a difficult time at this time.
It is.
You must hold on.
Yes, I feel like faith is tested all the time for me. So it's a feast or famine. I've had the very similar experience with 2021, where there were a few months where it was very quiet, and I was like, okay, my faith is really being tested, and it did pay off, but it's not easy. It's still not easy, right? It's not a clear path for sure. Could you?
I was listening to your podcast, and I heard you say your word for 2022 was heal. So I made my word trust, because last year I was so much into, and my control freak side was really frustrated with how things were going, and exposition that were delayed and postponed, and now I'm like, I'm going to try to trust this year and trust the process and the universe. And
I love that word. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story. And I love that word, trust. It's funny because I'm starting to hear from people what their words are. And this is a year where I think a lot of people are craving the calm. And another person told me their word was peace, like PEACE. And I just think that we're all, whatever last year was, maybe we're having this moment now where it's, okay, let's take one step back and just settle down a little bit. I don't know.
Absolutely. I'm feeling a good vibe for the year.
Yes. But not in an intense, super crazy way, just a more gentle way, I think. Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Could you describe to our listeners your art? What is it about? What does it look like? What materials do you use? Those are a lot of questions, but let's start there.
I mostly begin with, I make vibrant artwork with a touch of glamour. So I love to make things more beautiful. So I'm Gemini rising. I don't know if you know anything from astrology, and I'm a Sun Taurus, and I'm a Libra moon. So that's all like a lot of Venus, and I really, in my world, I want to make things more beautiful and more nice, and I want to make my environment more nice, and so I love to make nice artwork. And for me, that was also in the beginning very difficult, because I thought like things that are too nice, is it like decoration or is it art? So also is a thing. But I'm now fine with the fact that I make nice artwork and I make glamorous girls. I like to portray women, mostly in my work. They have mostly strong poses, but I also like to add some vulnerable. I can say the word.
Vulnerable?
Yes, that's.
Okay.
I use a lot of epoxy resin, so I work in layers. And I use a lot of gold, glitter. In the past, I mostly worked in gold and blue, because I was like, gold and blue are two colors that are both like very worldly, but also very spiritual. And I like both sides of the world. I'm like, I can be like very down to earth and worldly, and but also like the spiritual thing and being more inside. So I like to combine those in my work also.
Yes. Can I say a few adjectives that I would use to describe your work?
Yes.
Okay. Very unique, in a good way.
Oh, thank you.
Striking. Your work, if I see it, it just stops me in my tracks. It immediately pulls me in. The gold and the shimmering, luxurious, yes, beautiful and empowering, feminine yet powerful. So
I'm blushing.
yeah, no, everybody, so in the intro, I'm going to tell everybody you need to pause the recording and really look up your work and really look at it. I love the juxtaposition between the gold and the very soft qualities of your female figures, but then also the strong, the deep blues. And it's not fantasy. It's like you've created your own genre. And I can't say enough about your work. It's so incredible. And the videos on your website are amazing because they really showcase the surface. I know surface is a big deal. It's something that you really strive for. And yeah, you just can't get it all from one photo, but I do feel like the videos really, really help highlight the different parts of your pieces. That was intentional, I know. And that takes a lot of work to put those kinds of videos on your website, but definitely check it out. Keep going. What are you saying with your work?
You make me so happy
Yeah.
from saying this, because like this was like a big thing for me for a long time. Because when I just started to do my art and I wanted to do like expositions and things, groups expositions, I was a lot of times not considered, because people see my art and they just look at it and they don't see the details. They just look at it like very fast. They see it as too flat or too graphical and not arty enough. I'm now doing like exclamation marks with my fingers.
Who cares about that, right?
So in the beginning, that was for me like it was a very scary thing, because I was like, I want to be an artist, but I don't make art in the vision of many people. But now I'm really starting to. Everybody else has it, but it took me a long time to.
I know.
I don't know how to say it. Yeah.
I know these pieces are your children, right? So
yes.
The thought of other people looking at your children in the way that you don't see them is not a fun thought. I've had the same thing. I'm interested in your story. I looked at your website and I've read your about you. And one thing that really stuck out to me was after you got your MFA, you didn't consider yourself an artist. And to me, I just thought, oh my goodness, I know there are artists out there I don't have my MFA, I have a BFA, but even artists who are self-taught who don't consider themselves real artists, and they hear a person with an MFA not say that they didn't consider themselves an artist, was an absolute shock to me. At the same time, I wasn't shocked because I graduated with my BFA, so less schooling, and questioned whether or not I was a legit artist. So part of that, I think, is the climate of art school and what you go through in art school. I have opinions about self-taught artists or formally trained artists. We're all artists. It doesn't matter your training, and it's very difficult to walk either path because, in art school, you have these wounds and you have maybe somebody said something to you, or in a critique, they might have looked at your piece.
I think it's sometimes easier if you didn't go to art school, because you didn't get all that information and all that that insecurity that comes also with it often. So I've got those friends that are artists and I didn't go to art school, and then I'm sometimes like, and sometimes I'm also like, a few months ago she was asking it like, but you learned this in art school, and I was like, no, I didn't learn that in art school. And then she said like, oh, but you learned this. And then sometimes people that didn't go to art school, they think that we learn I don't know what, but
and some schools offer more of that information than others.
Yes.
Some programs are different. Some programs don't help these kiddos out at all that graduate. And you do graduate thinking, what next? There's this whole unclear path even after going through formal training. So my opinion is, no matter how you do it, whether you're self-taught or not, it's still a very difficult path, and it takes a lot to get through it. So
But the satisfaction can be very, very big if you can make
yes, I mean, we
yes.
still do it, right?
Yes. I'm now like at this moment, I'm often thinking like, oh my God, is this really real? Am I really doing this? And I really don't have to wake up tomorrow and go on a bus and go to a job or no, I'm just at home and I'm doing my things and I'm organizing shows, and it's not
Yes.
always easy, but it's amazing.
Yes. And, after going through a period of not sales, even for me, that faith being tested has been rewarded. So that moment when you question, should I just pick up and do this other thing? That's when the sale of the piece comes in, and that's when your faith is restored and you keep going. So now I met you through the Art Queens, and I can't not talk enough about the Art Queens and
No, it's a great
Capapova.
group.
And for me, that's been a game changer. What do you say about joining a community like the Art Queens? Are you affiliated with other groups? What has that done for you as an artist, working on your own, creating your art?
I think it's absolutely necessary. I went to my first group. It was, I don't know if you know Kathleen Steegmans.
I don't.
She's a Canadian artist coach. She doesn't have a group now anymore, but
Okay.
that was like 2018 when I decided I wanted to switch careers. Then I met her, and she had a group, and it was called The Lab.
Okay.
So that was my first artist group. She also had a Facebook group, and she stopped now with these things. She does have a podcast.
Okay.
I will share the link later.
Yes.
Yes. So that was my first group, and I really was like from the beginning. It was like amazing because you would like be inspired by other artists from around the world, and
Yes.
also like that you can see how many kinds of artists there are and how everybody does it their own way and can be successful in their own way. So when Catherine stopped of that group, but then Katerina started the Art Queens, and I was like, okay, yes, I didn't doubt for one moment. I was like, I need to be in the group because I feel like in real life I don't have many artist friends. I do have a few, but I don't have many, and I feel like it's really important to be surrounded by other artists and to see what they are doing and how they are doing it, and to talk about
Okay. I lost you for a second.
okay, yes, you are frozen.
I'm in a cornfield. So how's that? We're just gonna keep going. And yes, I'm so glad I met you through the Art Queens, and everything that you said is 100%. It's like I couldn't do it without my group of artists, seeing what everyone's up to, and it's so motivating.
It's also like if you talk to someone else about your artist problems,
Yes.
it's very difficult for people to understand if they don't do it themselves. So having this group is like something that's necessary, I think.
It is, because it's not a typical occupation. It's not a typical, no. And this is going to lead into my next question, which is perfect. I know. So this podcast is not only for artists, but it's for people who are not artists. So the life of an artist is extremely fascinating. And funny story, I worked in a few restaurants. So yes to that. And oh man, I remember, okay, so the last restaurant I worked in, I would get the most random questions from people that work there. And it was so much fun because it also helped me realize that we're not a typical type of person, and our lives do look different, which is very exciting and interesting. So Kathleen, what does a typical day look like for you? Like, what is it like for you to do this as your career and passion?
Well, the first thing is that there are not really a lot of typical days.
Yeah.
One of the typical things, and that's maybe also like a cliche from artists, I'm really like a night person. So I get out of bed late, just before noon, and I get in bed very late. So that's maybe something that's considered typical of artists.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. And then I would love to say that I get up and get into my studio and start working, but up until now that is not working. So mostly I start my days very slow. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really like starting slow in the morning or at lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and then doing the things that I need to do, like practical things. I do
Mm-hmm.
like grocery shopping or like the business things of
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like in the afternoon I start working slowly, and then in the evening I'm like at
Mm-hmm.
my best. Yeah. But it's also like I feel like I've now finally come to peace with myself. No, that I'm not like I work in periods. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I'm somebody who thinks a lot. I can be very stuck in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm mostly thinking in a day. I'm just writing things down, journaling, looking at videos, listening to podcasts, or and then just things are growing in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've done, what I've realized that I need to set deadlines for myself, because otherwise I don't really start to do the active work. So I've now planned every 2 or 3 months, I plan something that I announce to the public that I'm going to do. And then I know when the deadline is coming, then I suddenly start working, and then I just go all in.
Mm-hmm.
So I really have periods that I'm just like doing almost nothing. It seems like doing nothing, but I'm always like in my head with my art. And
Mm-hmm.
then I've got periods that I'm like really working from the morning until the evening, and I'm just creating.
Yeah. Oh, I can relate to that 100%.
I
And
always
and
wanted to be like I need to do something every day, but I'm now realizing like it doesn't suit me. I can't force myself to do that because I need both. Yeah.
yeah, and not fighting it, right? And
No.
not, because your creative brain probably works the best late. It's funny, I'm a late person. I would love to stay up late, but right now I have 3 kids at home.
That's
So my
difficult.
life, I don't really have if I stay up late, I pay for it the next day because everybody's up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So oh, all right. Hopefully I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you just froze for a little bit, but you're back.
Okay, I'm back. I know. My internet's being a little temperamental today.
It's the snow.
It's that snow. Um, okay. So yeah, not fighting it and just going with what works for you is amazing. And having a deadline is huge. I like to think about my work as like it's like an exponential thing. So you have one piece and then you have two, and then suddenly you have four, and then you have a show. At the very end, it's like it all comes together. So very
I also
cool.
love to plan for shows. So like when I
Mhm.
know that I have a show, I find it easier to start creating because I know like the pieces can go there, and then find it easier to make like a consistent series of work. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. With that, what do you have coming up in 2022 that you're excited about?
Well, I now have a very small show in like a cafe in February. It's like a cafe, and they do like a lot of workshops for painting and for drawing and for kids also. So it's like a really small place. And I will do my very first artist talk there at the end of February, which I'm very nervous about because I'm very
Oh,
good at talking to people and I can talk a lot and a long time. But in front of an audience, it's
mhm.
but for a long time I said I didn't want to do it, and I'm like, okay, 2022 is going to be the year that I'm going to get out of my comfort zone at this point, and I'm going to do my first artist talk. Yes.
Okay. Yay. Okay, what else?
And then I will probably in March do a lifestyle fair with my gallery and with another artist. So we are just like talking about that, but that will probably be a thing. And then in June, I did last November, I did a really successful artist expo with 2 artists that I didn't know before. We knew each other from online, and then we did a show in November, and it was a great success. So
Mm,
we are now talking about doing something else in June.
okay.
And then next to this, my boyfriend and I, we are back into the looking for a new place. because when we moved here, it's like we live now in a really cool loft space. But we moved here when we were in the graphic design business. So it's not really suited to do like real artwork. I don't have a place to go for sanding or to do heavy work. So I need like a separate studio, but I still want a studio at home. So we're looking for a new place to live. And I would really love to have a little bit of exhibit space at our new place.
Ooh.
So yes, that's a long time dream. And I feel like the time is now. So I'm not sure how we will do that and how it's going to be even possible, but that's like something I want to manifest this year.
Yes. Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch that unfold. Okay. Anything else you want to share about this year? Or that sounds like a lot. You have a lot of really great plans.
That's already a lot. Yes, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm doing podcasts because you are
Yeah.
the second podcast. So I'm really happy about this. Yes, that was one of my other goals for 2022, to talk a bit more about my art and why I do what I do. So thank you for that.
Yes. Okay. I think I'm ready for the rapid round, unless you have something else you want to say. I know one message that you have is you have your story and you want to help motivate people in some kind of way. What way is that? What would a message with your story? What's something that you hope to share with us?
I'm hoping that people trust themselves more and follow their hearts. Yes. And don't be held back with what their mind is saying or what other people are saying. And things are possible even if you think they're not. And if you think they're not, look at other people who are doing what you are doing and try to mimic them or try to learn from them. And it's maybe not very easy, but the reward is so high or big, or so just go for it, I would say.
Yes. And we're not just talking about art, but I think
everything. Yes.
Any occupation, any type of dream project that you want to make, or
I also really believe that, like, if everybody does more what makes them happy, the world will be more peaceful. By doing what we love, the vibration of the world will change. So it's very hippie-like, but I believe this.
I do too. That's the reason why I have this podcast, because I'm encouraging people to be creative, even if they don't want to become a professional artist like us and sell their work. That creating just for the sake of getting those feelings and emotions and energy out is going to help people feel better and hopefully make the world a better place. So you and I are very aligned in that. And that was one reason why I was so excited to get you on the podcast, because after we had our conversation through Instagram, it was like, yes, we need to do this. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I have a rapid fire. So these are my quick questions. You don't even know what they are.
No.
So, top of your mind, Kathleen. Okay, I ask the same questions to everybody. So question one is, can you answer this? What is your favorite color?
Oh, all colors.
I know.
Blue.
Yes.
I'm going to say blue.
Okay, what shade of blue? Let's go deeper.
Deep, dark blue.
Like a phthalo blue or deeper.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, I love blue too. Okay, for you. Okay, for me. All right. Some people get their inspiration and their ideas when they're in the shower. And for me, not the case. I get my inspiration when I'm driving my car without anybody in it. So where do you get your inspiration, your ideas from? Is there a specific place?
I feel from talking to people. Yes, I love to talk to a lot of different people and then hearing their stories, and also talking about arts. When I have an exhibition and people come by and they reflect on what they see, that gives me then inspiration for a new piece. So yes.
Oh, so
that's
when
also why I really think like making the art is nice, but showing it and having people talk about it and talk with you about it, that's like a very important step too for me. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're in a creative block, you need to get out of your studio, right?
Yes.
And talk to people. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there a movie or a book that you want to mention that maybe informed your work, or you absolutely are a big fan of this book or movie?
I've got so many. one that comes up right now, because it's one that I read like a few years ago, but it was a really mindset for me at the time, was Tara Bach. I don't forget the name. I'm going to write it down.
Okay, it'll come back. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, here's a random question. Is there a type of art form or like a sport, for instance, that you admired, but you wish you were good at, but you're not? Like for me, it'd be volleyball. I am a terrible volleyball player. I wish I was good at it.
Well, I'm not good at any sports, and I don't mind.
Yeah.
Well, I would really like to have the real, to know how to really do oil painting. Yes.
Oh.
I never learned how to do oil. I can't even pronounce it. Oil painting.
Oil painting.
Oil painting.
Okay.
And I have tried it a few times, and I wanted to give it some more time to learn it in the future. But at this time, I would really, if I could have like magically one skill, I would love to know how to oil paint, like proper oil painting.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ways you can do it. So you can YouTube that. No problem.
I already did. I already subscribed to some courses, but I just have to do it now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Studio beverage of choice when you're working.
Oh, I'm addicted to Coca-Cola Zero. Oops.
Oh, I love Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Yes, I'm an addict.
It's yummy. No judgment there. I like Coca-Cola too. I wonder if it's different in Belgium than the American Coca. Ours is probably worse for you.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is my last question. What is your creative advice? I feel like you have two things. Do you have creative advice for an artist starting out? And then do you have any kind of creative advice for somebody who's not an artist, but just feels creative? You can answer both or one or the other.
For the artist, I would say, like, make your own opportunities. Don't wait to be invited. Okay. Like, I also did my own shows and everything in between, and then I sold art. And don't wait for people to invite you, but just do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And for the non-artists, just do it, and don't be afraid, and just go for it. And if it's not working out, nobody has to see it. It doesn't matter if you enjoy making.
Okay. I'm back.
Yes.
Okay. I did get what you're saying though. So thank you so much for sharing that advice. And okay. Lastly, thank you so much for being on the show. How can we support you?
Thank you for inviting me.
How can we support you? You did mention to me that you do ship internationally, so that's not a problem. So I advise everyone to go check out your website, which, by the way, your website is so complete and professional. And, I'm guilty. My website has holes in it. For instance, a blog section I haven't written on yet, but I looked at your website and it's so thorough. It's so well done. It's so cohesive and beautiful. So go to your website. And how can we support you?
It's one of the benefits from first having a graphic design company, because we made websites for clients. So I knew how to do everything. So that's one of the perks of doing something else first.
Yeah.
But indeed, I would love to have some people visiting my website, and some new followers on Instagram would also be something that I would like very much. Okay. So you can find me everywhere on Kathleen Steegmans. It's my website is kathleensteegmans.be, and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok even though I don't use it a lot, but you can find me everywhere in my own name.
Mm-hmm. And you have a mailing list for email, and I just signed up for your email list, and you did give me a coupon code right away.
I did 10%. Yes, that's true.
You. So if you sign up,
and I really need to make a bit of work for my email list this year. So please subscribe so I can be more motivated.
Yes, and get a coupon code so you can buy something on her website, but have a little bit of a lovely discount there. So that's so incredible and generous of you. And thank you for your time and for sharing. I can't wait to see what you create this year and how things unfold for you and your new place. I can't wait to see that. I'm sure it's going to be incredible. And I wish you only the very, very best. Thank you for being on here. And yes, everyone should go check out all of your platforms and your website. All of those links will be in the show notes. And thanks again so much, Kathleen, for being here. It's been such a treat.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so very happy we did this, and I'm so very happy that I got to know you a little bit better. And I'm very curious to see where we all will evolve to in the next year. So,
Yes, I know.
yes.
It's been so great getting to know you. And I feel like I made a new artist friend today, which is so
Yes.
exciting. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. So
Absolutely. Yes.
thanks again, Kathleen. You're the
Thank
greatest.
you.
I wish you the
Thank
best. I'll talk to you
you.
soon. Have a wonderful day.
Yes.
I'll see you later. Bye.